Hello and welcome back. We are now on lesson 3, Ride the High. And this is kind of a fun lesson. And again, it is focused on you and where we are in going through the grieving process. And riding the high involves some sort of physical stimulation. Yes, I did say physical stimulation. It's around movement. We want to have those endorphins going, having some exercise, moving the body. There's a lot of science around this, and it is something that I'm bringing up in this lesson so that you can move even faster through the grieving process. Now, getting outdoors and getting vitamin D is essential. It is very important. The lower the vitamin D, the more likely you are to experience the blues. In 2013, there's a British Journal of Psychiatry that looked at researching about 31,000 people, and they found that having very low levels of vitamin D increased the risk of depression. So the stagnation only lowers those emotions. The vibration that can create a negative downward spiral, I've been there. And feeling bad about yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, or feeling nothing. I remember feeling nothing where I was like, I don't want to be here, but I also don't want to be there. I don't want to go anywhere. So it's a feeling that is just so low and blue. And it can be very difficult to climb out of this thinking all by yourself. So getting some help to raise your vibrations is vital. Now, you might be able to do some of it on your own, or make sure that you involve your friends and family, but you can go to funny movies, listening to funny stories, even stand-up comedy. You can watch that on TV, and maybe if you can go in person, that'd be even better. But sometimes doing some makeovers. Here I am almost 60 years old, and it's fun to try and look even more pretty and even healthier. Doing some outdoor activities for me. I love nature. So walking outdoors, doing a little bit of hikes, or just even walking around the neighborhood. Sometimes if you need to, going into the malls, where you can walk around in the malls and be safe and see people, but you don't have to interact too much. That can also be a great way to get movement and get going and keep that high going. One of the things that helped me, and I'm going to suggest, is reading a book. Commit to yourself that you'll read a good book, maybe even a self-help book, or some books that we recommend for the grieving process. Whatever works for you. You can do 2 a month if you're a voracious reader, or 1 every other month. But commit to yourself that you'll do that. It really will make a huge difference. And one of the ones that I highly recommend is something that's called Personality Isn't Permanent. It's written by a friend of mine, Ben Hardy. Dr. Ben Hardy wrote this, and part of the book specifically is helping people work through trauma and living into a life that they love, thinking about a future that they love. And to be clear, Ben and I have no monetary help for each other for talking about his book at all. I just highly recommend his book, and there'll be several others that I recommend that I have no compensation for. It's just really good to be able to read these, think about them, be in their stories, think about how others have been through what you've been through, and glean from them so you don't have to do it and make it so hard for yourself. But I will put a list for you. But Personality Isn't Permanent by Dr. Benjamin Hardy is really good. And then today, at the end of this lesson, let's have a new exercise. If you'll get out a pen and paper, or if you use an iPad or a technology, or write it down, but have a list. We're just going to create a list of 3 things that you're going to do in the next 24 hours. So for the next day, in the next 24 hours, write down the 3 things that you're going to do to raise your spirit, to increase your movement, to have a positive emotional state, even if it's just smiling really big. And I look forward to seeing you at our next lesson.